All right, let's get right into it. When I say fortress, you've probably got images of moats, high stone walls, maybe even a dragon or two. But today, the most valuable treasure in the world isn't gold, it's data. And the fortresses we build to protect it, well, they're designed to be completely invisible. We're about to unlock the blueprint for these modern-day castles. Now get this. This quote comes directly from the top security experts in the field. And I know, it sounds totally backward, right? Why on earth would you hide something so incredibly important in a building that's designed to be, well, forgettable? It's all part of a strategy called security through obscurity. And that really is the big question we're tackling here. The answer lies in a philosophy known as the gray man concept. The whole goal is to just blend in, to not attract any attention whatsoever. Because, the easiest way to survive an attack is to never become a target in the first place. So where do you even begin building one of these invisible fortresses? Well, it starts long, long before anyone pours a foundation or puts up a wall. Your very first line of defense isn't a fence or a camera, it's a tiny dot on a map. You've got to think about two big categories of invisible threats here. On the one hand, you've got Mother Nature. Is this spot in a floodplain? Are there earthquake fault lines nearby? Is it sitting right under a major flight path? Then you've got the man-made risks. Is it next door to a chemical plant that could go boom? Or maybe too close to an embassy that could attract unwanted attention? If you get this step wrong, there's no fixing it later. The game is already over. Okay, so you've picked the perfect, most boring spot on the map. Now what? Now we zoom in to the property itself. And this is where a really powerful security philosophy comes into play. It's an acronym you're going to want to remember. CPTED. CPTED. It stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And honestly, this is where things get really clever. This isn't about building bigger, scarier fences. It's more like applied psychology. It's about using things like landscaping, lighting, and just the general layout to mess with a criminal's head, to make them feel watched and exposed, usually without them even knowing why. Now, CPTED isn't just one simple trick. Nope, it's a whole strategy, and it's built on three core principles that all work together. They basically turn the environment itself into an active part of your security team. And here they are: natural surveillance, natural access control, and territorial reinforcement. They might sound a little academic, but the ideas behind them are super intuitive. Let's break down exactly what each of them means. First up, natural surveillance. The idea here is simple: see and be seen. Bad guys love the dark. They love places to hide. So good design takes away all their hiding spots. As you can see right here, overgrown shrubs, huge no-no. You keep bushes trimmed low, under 3 feet. You lift tree canopies up high, over 7 feet. You light up every corner. You want any potential intruder to feel like they're on a brightly lit stage. Next up is natural access control. This is all about guiding people where you want them to go and keeping them out of where you don't. Think of a clear, welcoming path that leads right to the front door. Now think about trying to get to a window by climbing through a huge, dense, thorny rose bush. You're probably not going to do it, right? It's not a fence, but it's a heck of a deterrent. And this last one, territorial reinforcement, this is pure psychology. It's all about creating a clear vibe of ownership. You know that feeling when you walk off a public concrete sidewalk and onto a nice private brick pathway? You instantly feel like you're on someone's property. That's this principle in action. A well-kept lawn, a clean building, it all sends a subconscious signal that says someone cares about this place. Someone is watching. Okay, we've talked about the clever, subtle, psychological stuff. But what about the not-so-subtle threats? For a really critical building, you have to plan for the worst-case scenario. And that often means planning for a big boom. The main way you defend against that? It comes down to a simple, unbending rule of physics. 100 feet. That's it. That's the magic number. It is one of the most critical figures in all of physical security. But what on earth does it actually mean? It represents a concept called standoff distance. It's actually really simple. It is the absolute minimum safe space you need between your building and any spot a car or truck can get to. Why? Because the destructive power of a blast, it drops off incredibly fast with distance. That 100-foot buffer, about 30 meters, is often the difference between staying operational and total disaster. So we've gone through a lot of theory: site selection, CPTD, standoff distance. Let's put you in the driver's seat. Imagine you're a security consultant and you're walking a potential site for the first time. Let's see if you can spot the flaws. First thing you see, there's this huge, overgrown mess of shrubs right in front of an emergency exit door. Ding, ding, ding. What's the problem? That's a classic natural surveillance fail. You're giving someone a perfect place to hide. The fix? Simple. You get out the trimmers, take those shrubs down below 3 feet, and bam, you've got clear lines of sight again. All right, next, you're walking the perimeter and you notice the visitor parking spots are, wow, they are right up against the wall where the backup generators are, maybe 5 meters away. What rule are we breaking? You got it, the big one, standoff distance. That is a massive, unacceptable risk. That parking lot has to move. How far? At least 100 feet away. No excuses.
Okay, last one. You pull up the local map and your heart sinks. The property right next door is a fertilizer manufacturing plant. What do? Well, you can't trim a factory. You can't move it 100 feet away. This is a red flag so big it ends the whole discussion. This goes all the way back to step 1, site selection. The only real solution is to walk away and find a different site. It just goes to show you that very first decision is almost always the most important one. So, the next time you're driving past one of those nondescript, windowless warehouses with suspiciously perfect landscaping and a huge lawn separating it from the road, you might not be looking at a boring building at all. You might just be looking at an invisible fortress. Now that you know the blueprint, I have to ask, will you ever see a boring building the same way again?